Hey everyone, welcome to MLSsoccer.com's Brazil Bound, presented by Castrol GTX High Mileage. I'm Greg Lawless alongside Jesse Marsch, former U.S. national team assistant coach, and this is the final in our series of post-mortem episodes about the U.S.'s run at the World Cup.
This is the best one.
This is the best one, the most fun one. This is the revelation of Jesse's starting 11 for the 2018 U.S. team at the World Cup. Jesse?
Yeah, because I've gotten so many lineups right.
Yes, you have. Sorry. Come on, bring it up. What have you got 4 years from now?
Well, it's fun, and when you look at the team, it's actually a fairly talented group, and there's promise in the future. So we'll start in goal, and Timmy Howard will probably still serve duty for the national team the next couple of years, but I think by 2018 we'll be ready to see Brad Guzan. And as good as Timmy Howard's been, I don't think Guzan is much of a drop-off. I played with him at Chivas. I know the kind of mentality he has and the kind of man he is, and super talented and a great year with Aston Villa. So he'll be able to step in no problem. Then when I look across the back line, there'll be some familiar faces from this World Cup. So I'm moving Fabian Johnson over to the left, playing him at left back, then Brooks and Gonzalez at center back, and we're going to start Yedlin at right back. So I think it's a pretty athletic group with some soccer in it. Then I'm going to play a 4-2-3-1. And the two deep-lying midfielders we're putting in will be Michael Bradley and Will Trapp from the Columbus Crew. So we'll go into that a little bit later. And ahead of them, I'm going to play Darlington Nagbe. So I'm counting on Caleb Porter to get Darlington naturalized and an American citizen. And then I'm going, the three guys that we'll have up top, it's important, and you've seen how much mobility and athleticism is important. So I'm putting Aguadello on the left, Josie Altidore up top, and Terrence Boyd out right.
All right, well, there's some surprising names, I think, probably for some people out there. And let's start in the midfield. You mentioned him a little bit that we go into this. Will Trapp, the young Columbus Crew midfielder, who obviously has shown very well. He's a lot of praise for what he does. But you think he is a guy who, over the next couple of years, will be able to take it to that international level? Yeah,
I think he'll really establish himself. And I worked, when I was with the national team, sometimes I'd go in with the youth national teams. And I worked with the 18s and with Will Trapp. And he's got a great personality. He's got a lot of life. He's another kid that's not afraid. He loves the big moments. And now technically very gifted with the ball, very clean, understands how to move around to make space for himself. He's a good passer. The biggest thing that he needs to improve in his game is now mobility, covering ground, and being hard to play against in terms of physicality, tackles, winning battles on the physical end of the ball. But other than that, I think he's a pretty complete player.
Well, who does he remind you of? Who's someone he reminds you
of?
Remind you of yourself?
No, much better than me. I mean, he's got some Michael Bradley in him, in terms of the way that he can see the game and deliver passes. There's been Claudio was very smooth in the middle in terms of how he was able to move around, and now every touch seemed to have a purpose, and there's a little bit of that in him too. So I think again with the ball he's very clean and neat.
And he's got a good engine as well. Now you also mentioned an attacking player in here. You mentioned he needs to still be naturalized. Darlington Nagbe from the Portland Timbers, who I think everybody knows and loves as being a very creative, talented player, knows how to get in dangerous positions and put the ball away.
Yeah.
What do you like about him over the next couple of years?
Well, I think his ability in tight spaces, his ability to set the next guy up in the attack, to put him in a position to now take advantage of time and space. He's clever around the goal. He's a good finisher, good soccer player, athletic, mobile. So he's really got a full package. And when if you can put him on a team, like he's been a little bit with Portland at times, but surround him with some athletic pieces and some mobility, I think he's really good at getting a lot of different guys involved in the attack.
And he's got that great first step. He seems to glide out there on the field. All right, well, let's take a look also, because you're a coach, so I know you didn't just do 11. You have a full 23 ready to go. So let's take a look at Jesse's bench, if you will. Well, Jesse, there's some familiar names for people there. Obviously, Breck Shea and Matt Beasler, of course, and Graham Zusi, but some also unknowns, if you will, at the international level, maybe some surprises. Starts with Dillon Powers from the Colorado Rapids. What do you like?
Yeah, well, Dillon came up through the U.S. youth system, but he came up as primarily a defensive midfielder. But now he's played with Colorado, and he plays more like a number 10 or an attacking role. And I think his versatility and his, ability on the ball, along with his athleticism. He's a strong guy. He's got some mobility. So I think he can match the demands physically of what the international game is, as well as play some soccer in the middle of the field and have a little bit of flexibility in playing a couple different spots.
One of those themes you've come back to again and again is the athleticism and the physicality
absolutely.
of the game at the World Cup. Another name that most people may not know, Joe Zhao, who has been in Germany for the last couple of years, was at Hoffenheim, was just recently transferred to Borussia Dortmund's second team. What do you like about him? Tell us a little more about him.
Yeah, another guy that came through the U.S. youth system, and this is a kid who is explosive, powerful, fast, can hit a ball. He's a winger. He can play on either side, and when you watch him, he's really just a physical specimen. One of the issues he's had is just staying healthy, and it's partly because he's such a powerful package. But you know, I hope that he can establish himself at Dortmund and then continue to insert himself in the international game and, you know, with the 23s and then moving forward with the national team. And if that's the case, I think he can be a major contributor at the next World Cup.
I think the biggest thing for him is he needs to start getting games. Yeah. Well, all right, there's Jesse's starting 11 and the bench for the 2018 World Cup for the U.S. team. Let us know in the comments below who you might put as your starting 11, or hit us up on Twitter. Use the hashtag BrazilBound. Jesse, thanks for this whole post-mortem on the U.S. team. That's it for this episode of MLSsoccer.com's Brazil Bound, presented by Castrol GTX High Mileage. For Jesse Marsch, I'm Greg Lawless. We'll talk to you later.